Hey everyone, it's Kevin. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to tell you what I would do if I had an eating disorder again. Don't forget to subscribe and check out some of my free resources below. And don't forget my new program, the Empowered Eating System. You can find the details below. If I had an eating disorder, what would I do differently? I made a lot of mistakes, and that's probably why it took me so long to recover. And my goal for you is that you can recover in a much shorter period of time. It shouldn't take years to recover. I would say few months, that's reasonable. But years, it only takes years if you make the mistakes that I made. But if you do the opposite, you can really accelerate your recovery. So I'm going to tell you how to do that. So what would I do if I had another eating disorder? Here's what I would do. The first thing I would do is I would make a small change today. I would focus on making those smaller changes. Because let's face it, if you're purging or binging at night, or you're doing one of these other really destructive behaviors, you're not going to change it overnight. You shouldn't bank on that. I mean, yeah, there are some rare cases where somebody has this overnight transformation, but that's not typical. So what's one thing that you can change? Anything. What's one new habit you can start today that would accelerate your recovery, make your life better, and make you healthier? It could be really small. It doesn't have to be that big of a deal. It could be not checking your social media until the afternoon. That way you can focus in the morning. It could be not checking your messages the first 30 minutes of the morning. It could mean only getting fast food twice a week instead of every day. I don't know. You have to analyze your own life. You live your life. But just make that one change and get that process started. Okay, the second thing I would have done, and this one is a killer, I would have placed less importance on dates. I would have placed less importance on the calendar, because the truth is, dates don't matter. I can stand on the roof and yell that 1,000 times because it's true. Dates don't matter. It doesn't matter that today is January 1st. It doesn't matter that today is your birthday. It doesn't matter that today is an anniversary. It doesn't matter. Those dates don't matter. Your brain doesn't recognize a calendar. It doesn't recognize dates. It doesn't understand the importance of those dates. Your brain doesn't understand dates and calendars. That's a human construct. We made those up to make it easier to do business, really. Imagine if we said this is day 284 of the year. That would be crazy. But when it comes to habit change, dates matter less than you think. Your environment matters less than you think. Your circumstances matter less than you think. It just doesn't matter. And if you think that waiting longer and waiting for some date to make that change is going to make it easier, it won't. You're going to reach that date and you're going to think, why didn't I start this process sooner? Now it's really hard. And believe me, you'll find some cop-out. You'll find some excuse to push it back to a later date. You're never going to want to change it. There's always going to be some resistance, and it doesn't matter what that date is, and just accept that. The easiest day to make a change was yesterday. And the next best day is today. So at least get started. Don't promise that you're going to change everything in one day. You're going to get too much resistance. Your brain is going to rebel. It's not going to allow you to do it. But if you just say that you're going to change a little bit, then you can start that process. And if you can start a little bit of change, if you can create one new habit, then you can create another one, then another one, then another one. Just don't promise to radically overhaul your life in one day. Third thing I would have done is I would have focused less on perfection. I didn't need to have the perfect circumstances. I didn't need to have the perfect diet. I didn't need to have the perfect macros. I didn't need to have perfect anything. You're never going to have the perfect circumstances. You're never going to have the perfect diet. What is the perfect diet anyway? What is that? Does that even exist? I would have focused on the here and now and doing something today. Because I realized after many years and wasting a lot of time that I was never going to have the sunshine and rainbows that I wanted. That no job, no apartment, no circumstances were ever going to make the changes that I need to make. I had to make those changes. The next thing I would have done is I would have asked myself why a lot more. I'm a big fan of introspection and self-analysis. Why was I doing this? What was the benefit that I was getting? What was I costing myself? Ask yourself why, because nothing is making you go to the drive-thru and get a milkshake. Nothing. So why are you doing that? Why are you chasing these temporary feelings of pleasure and entertainment at the cost of everything else? Ask yourself why. I would have asked myself why a lot more. Instead, I did it because I gave myself an excuse. A lot of times we give ourselves excuses to continue the behavior because it's comforting, it's secure, it makes us feel better. Once we quit it, we think, what am I going to do with myself? I'll talk about that in a future video, but that's the source of the resistance. But spend more time asking yourself why, and step back and observe the process. What are the steps that take place? What are those thoughts that go through your head? Why do you do that? What are you thinking right before you reach into the bag of potato chips? So a little more introspection, a little more self-analysis, and a little more observation. Once you observe the situation, then you can start to change it. This channel would not be possible without Essetino artists. If you want to start producing content and start your own YouTube channel, then check out the Creative Business Academy. There is a link below. All right, back to the video. The next thing I would have done is I would have planned ahead. In other words, what was I going to do after recovery? What was I going to do after the eating disorder? What was I going to do with my life? Once I stopped diverting so much energy and attention and time to this ED, what was I going to do with my life? What was I going to do with all that extra free time? That's a really important question to ask, because a lot of times disordered eaters ask themselves, how am I going to cope? What am I going to do? Oh my gosh, I don't have this source of pleasure and entertainment in my life. I don't have this enemy. I don't have this problem to fix anymore. What am I going to do? So what, if you didn't have this ED, what would be your goals? What would you do with your free time? What would you do with that extra money? Start planning ahead. Recovery does come with a price. You're going to have to sacrifice something. You have to sacrifice some of the crutches that you're used to. Every good thing comes with a price, and you can't have everything in life. So what is it that you really want? Do you want that health, that fitness, that attraction? Do you want to run faster, or do you just want to sit in your room and have a box of donuts? Which is it? The next thing I would have done is I would have improved my life in other areas. Not talking about health and diet. I put way too much emphasis on my diet in my 20s, and I thought that was all there was to health. And it's not. There's so many other components to health. So what other areas of your life can you be improving? Can you improve your body image? Can you improve your style? Can you improve your grammar? Can you improve your social life? Can you improve your finances? What are you not doing that could improve your life today? Because the thing is, recovery is going to take several months, at least several weeks, but let's just say months. And then the weight loss phase is going to take a lot longer than that. So if you do it right, if you do it the way I recommend, then you're looking at anywhere between 6 and 18 months for most people. Okay. There's a lot of variation in there. I'm not going to go into that in detail, but what can you do now, today, that would have an immediate improvement on your life? And when you start focusing on other areas of your life and you stop focusing so much on the ED and the weight and the eating, you automatically make the problem better. Because the problem right now is that you're obsessed about this. You focus too much on it. You focus too much on what you eat. You focus too much energy on fixing the problem. And this is a problem that does demand attention, but you're neglecting other areas of your life. The next thing I would have done is I would have narrowed the selection and the time. Here's what I mean. I would have confined those behaviors, so like the binging, the purging, the overeating, all that, to specific times and only to specific foods. So towards the end of my ED, I got it down to ice cream, cookies, candy, and cereal. Those were my big four. And even then, I confined it to specific brands and specific flavors. So I wasn't binging on anything and everything. It was only these 4 things and nothing else. And I only gave myself permission to do it at a specific time of the day, which is kind of funny. So during the morning and the early afternoon, I'd be like, oh, I can do this. But then once 6 or 7 o'clock came, like, all hell broke loose. But at least I was confining the problems. This is why I teach this. It's confinement. Okay, less time, less selection. Next thing you want to do is less frequent. Okay, don't do it every day. Get it down to like 5 days, 4 days, 3 days, 2 days. Start confining it. Now, this last thing is specifically for overeaters and binge eaters, but try to do those behaviors without distraction. I look back, and every time I binged, every time I overate, I was distracted. I was reading the news. I was watching a YouTube video. I was doing this. I was doing that. I never sat in the corner all by myself and just binged. Never. It just wasn't the same. It didn't have the same magic to it when I was just sitting there opening wrappers and going through a box of cereal and I had no distraction. It was almost disgusting at that point. You should at least consider that. I remember doing it the first time without the distraction. It wasn't nearly as good. It's like, man, something is missing here. It was like I had to have both components. I had to have the influx of fat and sugar, and I also had to have the distraction. But one without the other just wasn't the same. And the next time you have an urge or a craving and you just have to binge or overeat, and let's face it, there's probably going to be another episode, at least consider that. Turn off all the distractions and just do it on your own in front of a blank wall, and then see how exciting that is. Hope you found this video educational and entertaining. Don't forget to subscribe and check out some of my free resources below. If you liked this video, I'm sure you'll like one of the other videos that you see on the screen. Click one of them and I'll see you there.